All right. All right. To begin, thank you for agreeing to meet with me for this interview following the survey I sent out regarding my capstone project. As I stated in the survey introduction, I'm pursuing my master's through Georgetown College for literacy specialist with teacher leader endorsement, and this action research project is my final project prior to graduation. I chose the topic of FPC due to its pertinence to our school's mission as well as self-efficacy. So with your consent, all of the data I collect from our exchange will be used for my research regarding self-efficacy and our school's teachers implementing the FPC system. All of your input will remain confidential and anonymous and will not directly affect your classroom after I present to a PLC consisting of our principal and instructional coach as a component of my action research for Georgetown. After the project is complete, a copy of my data and research will be available upon request. I will be recording our interview today in order to transcribe your responses to add needed qualitative data for analysis. Is that okay with you?
That is great.
All right, before we begin, do you have any questions?
I do not.
All right. So my first question is, how long have you been teaching in your district and at your school?
Okay, so this is my 5th year in Fayette County, and this is my 5th year at Breckenridge Elementary as well in 1st grade.
All right, awesome. Have you always taught literacy self-contained in your classroom?
Yes, so we have always done guided reading groups. We do have a whole group guided or whole group literacy lesson and curriculum that we follow, but we do smaller groups for an hour and a half every day. And each group is based on skills and level of individual kids. And so we group them based on their levels and what skills they need and where they need to go. So yes, the whole time I've been here, that's what I'm used to.
Okay, so do you ever get any students that are not in your classroom? Like, do you rotate amongst your grade level or just within your room?
Sometimes we will have so I have a kid in 1st grade right now who's reading on a level L, which is very,
Yeah.
very rare. And so there are a couple other first graders who are reading on that level as well. And another 1st grade teacher has a student teacher. So we are giving that group to the student teacher to learn how to do the JAM plan and follow that. And so right now that is the only situation where we're moving kids outside of the classroom.
Okay, awesome. That's interesting.
Yeah.
What types of experiences have you had with different reading programs prior to FPC?
Yeah. So I've had experience with Wonders, McGraw-Hill Wonders program, reading program. We follow the JAM plan very closely. And then I guess the whole time I've been at Breckenridge, we've used Wonders, and we've used some of their guided reading instruction, but most of their text levels are way too difficult for our kids right now at this stage. And then, so we've just picked, I'm blanking on it, the JAM plan books, which totally forget what it's called right now.
That is perfectly fine.
It's not Fontes and Pinnell. It's something, I totally forget right now. I can get back to you on that.
Okay.
But the
That's
books,
fine.
they're leveled books that we use, and we have a book room at our school that we use those texts. But this year we're trying out Fontes and Pinnell, but we haven't started it yet. And then we are also trying out Ready, which is a comprehension program. And so it's really, really focused on narrowing down those standards and really focused on like developing fiction and nonfiction comprehension at the whole group level.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Mhm.
How has COVID-19 affected your confidence in providing literacy instruction, both in person as well as online?
Yeah, so last year I taught the full year virtually, and in I think January or February, I can't remember when we finally went back to school, I was the one who stayed virtual for 1st grade, and I got 40 kids at that point, and a lot of them were new. So like I had to start basically over, like getting to know new kids, and just it just felt like a whole new beginning. But these kids had already had another teacher for half of the year and in another class. And so as far as confidence, my test scores didn't improve a whole lot like the other in-person classes. And so I think that just as far as my personal confidence, just I felt defeated and very burnt out by the end of the year, just from over like just not feeling like they're getting it. But then I also had to look at my circumstances and getting a whole new class, still virtual, not getting that in-person connection and growth like the other classes were. And so in person, I definitely have seen, since being back, like my confidence has grown. I've already seen growth in guided reading levels. And so that's been very rewarding to see so far. So, but yeah.
That's great. COVID-19 definitely had an impact on our students too. And we can't connect that to our own personal ability. What types of supports do you find most helpful for you when you want to successfully implement your literacy instruction? Like, what do you need from your grade level or your literacy coach?
We do PLCs weekly. And so meeting with my first grade team and seeing how they're teaching it and where they're struggling with students on certain topics, and just getting advice on like, hey, how are you teaching this part? Or this is what I'm running into with a kid. What do you recommend? Or what are you seeing? Kind of thing. Just communication with my team is great. Administration, they give us release days, half release days, where we can plan with our team, which is really, really nice because we don't have to worry about all this stuff and getting it done after school or whatever. But really giving us that support and being able to work together. And they're also in those meetings, which helps our conversation stay on task. And also they help hear things or like give us things that we need based on what we've talked about and things like that. So I think just communication and just overall support from administration is really, really helpful for me.
All right, that's great. The collaboration, having those conversations, they're very important.
Yeah.
Well, those are all of the questions that I have for today. Do you have any questions for me?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, thank you again for taking time to meet with me and contributing to my research. If you need to ask me anything, you can reach me through email, or we could stop by in person, or you can text me.
Awesome. That sounds great. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Welcome.